You don't own the software on your computer. You rent it. Stop paying. And the icons in your dock turn into screenshots. Photoshop closes. Excel locks. QuickBooks shuts you out of your own books. On March 13, 2026, the United States Department of Justice announced Adobe would pay $150 million to settle federal charges that the company hid early termination fees and engineered a cancellation process designed to wear customers down. Two Adobe executives, David Wadhwani and Maninder Sawhney, were named personally in the lawsuit. 6 other software subscriptions on this list have faced complaints from the Federal Trade Commission, settlements with state attorneys general, or forced AI integrations that raised prices 30% overnight. These are the 7 software subscriptions you should never buy in 2026, and the free alternatives that match every feature for $0. Here's the lens. 3 questions tell you whether a software subscription is worth keeping. First, do you still own your data when you stop paying? Photoshop saves to PSD format, which GIMP opens. Word saves to DOCX, which LibreOffice opens. QuickBooks saves your books to QuickBooks, which only QuickBooks opens. Lock-in is the business model. Second, has the company been sued by the Federal Trade Commission, the Department of Justice, or a coalition of state attorneys general for how they sell or cancel? 6 of the 7 names on this list have. The 7th is on its way. Third, does an open source equivalent already exist? For 95% of consumer software workflows, the answer is yes, and the open source version is often older than the subscription. The free alternatives are not toys. The Pentagon uses LibreOffice. Studio Ghibli uses Krita. Hollywood Productions color grade in DaVinci Resolve. The myth that free means broken is a marketing line. The receipts say otherwise. Worst, number 7. Norton 360, McAfee, and most paid antivirus suites. Microsoft Defender comes built into every Windows 10 and Windows 11 machine, free of charge. Independent testing firm, AV-Test, gave Defender 6 out of 6 across protection, performance, and usability. Bitdefender Free scored a 99.8% malware block rate at 0 cost. Norton 360 costs $50 to $100 a year for software that adds little over what is already on your PC. The bundled VPN comes with data caps. The bundled password manager rarely competes with free Bitwarden. Auto-renewal complaints are documented across the BBB, Reddit, and class action databases. For the ordinary user with careful browsing habits, paid antivirus has been a solved problem since Windows Defender hit parity around 2018. Number 6. Grammarly Premium at $144 a year. The free tier of Grammarly already catches roughly 90% of grammar and spelling issues. Premium adds tone analysis and rewrites, features now duplicated in free ChatGPT, free Claude, and Microsoft Copilot Chat, which is included with any free Microsoft account. There is also the privacy concern. Grammarly transmits everything you type to their servers for analysis. Language Tool offers comparable grammar checking with a privacy-respecting browser extension and an open-source backend. The premium tier exists to fund a marketing budget, not a technology gap. Number 5. QuickBooks. Online costs $30 to $200 a month. Intuit's track record speaks for itself. There was a $141 million multi-state settlement in May 2022 that affected 4.4 million customers across all 50 states and the District of Columbia. A final order from the Federal Trade Commission on January 22, 2024, banned the company from advertising tax services as free unless they are free for all consumers. The deceptive ad campaign ran 84,356 times across 721 television networks. QuickBooks Online raises prices roughly annually, and the data lock-in is severe. Exporting historical books to a different platform is intentionally painful. Wave Accounting offers free invoicing and bookkeeping, charging only for payment processing. GNU Cash is open source, double entry, and has been used by accountants and small businesses for over 25 years. Number 4. Canva Pro costs $120 a year. The free Canva tier already covers most social media and document design needs, and it will be enough for most people. Pro adds the background remover, brand kits, and premium templates, features now built into Affinity Photo 2, which became completely free in 2024 after Canva itself acquired Serif and made the entire Affinity suite free to download. So the same Canva company is selling you the upmarket alternative for free if you know where to look. GIMP handles raster editing. Inkscape handles vector design. The Pro tier is paying for templates you can recreate in 20 minutes. Number 3. Microsoft 365 Personal and Family. In November 2024, Microsoft raised prices 30%, the first hike for the productivity bundle in 12 years. The personal plan went from $99.99 to $129.99. The increase forced Copilot AI onto 84 million paid subscribers, whether they wanted it or not. The cheaper Microsoft 365. Classic plan exists, but Microsoft hid it behind the cancellation flow. A mass arbitration claim is currently active in 14 U.S. states, alleging that Microsoft failed to adequately disclose the Classic option without AI. The math is straightforward. 84 million subscribers multiplied by $36 in additional annual revenue equals roughly $3 billion a year, extracted from a product subscribers had already been paying for. LibreOffice provides Writer for Word, Calc for Excel, Impress for PowerPoint, and full read-write compatibility with every Microsoft file format. The French government runs it. The German city of Munich runs it. The Pentagon runs it. There is no telemetry, no forced AI, no price hike, no 30-day grace period. Number 2. TurboTax. The Federal Trade Commission issued a final order on January 22, 2024, banning Intuit from advertising any service as free unless it was free for all consumers. The opinion documented the deception across 84,000 television ads, billions of online impressions, and roughly 100 million American taxpayers, about 2/3 of all U.S. filers, who were ineligible for the advertised free version, but were not told until after they had spent 30 minutes entering their data. At that point, the upgrade prompts kicked in. Deluxe, Premium, Self-Employed. The fee at checkout was $20 to $90 more than the free version they thought they had signed up for. Free alternatives exist, and they are not obscure. The IRS now operates Direct File, expanded nationally for tax year 2025. Free Tax USA charges $0 for federal filing and $15 for state filing. Both have higher user satisfaction scores than TurboTax in independent surveys. Number 1. Adobe Creative Cloud, $659.88 a year for the All Apps plan. This is the largest, most documented subscription scandal in software history. The FTC filed its complaint on June 17, 2024, alleging Adobe violated the Restore Online Shoppers Confidence Act, known as ROSCA. Adobe's annual paid monthly plan looked like a flexible monthly subscription, but it locked customers into a one-year contract with an early termination fee equal to 50% of the remaining payments. The fee was buried in fine print or hidden behind hover-over icons. The cancellation flow was designed to wear customers down through dropped calls, multiple agent transfers, and unsolicited retention offers. The settlement closed on March 13, 2026, and required $75 million in civil penalties, plus $75 million in mandatory free services. Subscription revenue accounts for about 95% of Adobe's roughly $5 billion in quarterly revenue. The dark pattern was not a glitch. It was the business model. Pause on the pattern. Every company on the worst list spent the last 5 years either being sued by federal regulators, settling with state attorneys general, or quietly raising prices on millions of users who never agreed to the new product. Adobe, Microsoft, Intuit. These are not small companies. They are the 3 largest enforcement actions in consumer software history, all in roughly the same window. Meanwhile, on the other side of the internet, an army of unpaid developers built free open-source equivalents and uploaded them to download mirrors that have served billions of installs. LibreOffice has been downloaded over 350 million times. GIMP is older than most of YouTube. The free alternatives do not have a marketing budget. That is the only difference. Best number 3, DaVinci Resolve. Used by Hollywood productions including Marvel films, Netflix originals, and major broadcast networks. The free version includes professional color grading, Fairlight audio post, Fusion motion graphics, and a full editing suite. Made by Blackmagic Design, an Australian camera company that built Resolve to drive hardware sales rather than to extract subscription revenue. The paid studio version costs $295, one time, no subscription, and adds features most editors never need. Adobe charges $263.88 a year for Premiere alone. Caveat: Resolve has a steeper learning curve if you switch mid-project. The color and Fusion pages take a weekend to learn, but pay back forever. Best number 2, GIMP, Inkscape, and Krita. GIMP 3.0 was released in late 2024 with layer blending modes and full PSD compatibility. Inkscape is the open-source Illustrator equivalent, vector native, and it has been used by professional designers for over 20 years. Krita is built specifically for digital illustration and animation, and it is used by Studio Ghibli for production work and by comic artists worldwide. Affinity Photo 2 became completely free in 2024 after Canva's acquisition of Serif, and it is the closest one-to-one Photoshop replacement available today. Total cost across all 4 tools is $0 per year. 0. An honest caveat. GIMP's interface takes about a week to learn when coming from Photoshop. The keyboard shortcuts can be remapped to match Photoshop exactly within 5 minutes. Best number 1, LibreOffice. The boring answer that beats Microsoft on every measurable axis, except brand familiarity. It is used by the French government, the Pentagon, the city of Munich, and millions of organizations that ran the math and chose against Microsoft 365. Full read-write compatibility with DOCX, XLSX, and PPTX. Includes Writer for word processing, Calc for spreadsheets, Impress for presentations, Base for databases, Draw for diagrams, and Math for formulas. It was forked from OpenOffice in 2010, which means the codebase is older than the Cloud Office subscription model itself. No telemetry, no forced AI, no price hike, no early termination fee, no cancellation flow. Honest caveat: real-time, multi-user collaboration is weaker than Microsoft 365 cloud editing. If you genuinely need live collaborative document editing, free Google Docs handles that better than either Microsoft 365 or LibreOffice. The subscription model was not invented to give you better software. It was invented to convert one-time customers into recurring revenue. In 1998, you bought Microsoft Office on a CD for $400 and used it for the next 10 years. In 2026, you rent a worse version of it for $130 a year, get an AI you never asked for, and pay a 30% price hike in November because the marketing slide said the product was evolving. Adobe Photoshop CS6 was the last version you could buy outright. That was 2012. Everything since has been a rental contract. Adobe just paid $150 million in federal penalties for designing badly. Intuit was banned from the word free. Microsoft is in mass arbitration in 14 states. The court records are public. The free open source alternatives have been quietly building in the background since the 1990s, with larger communities than most of the companies on the worst list. They do not have shareholders demanding 30% growth. They do not lock you out when you stop paying, because there is nothing to stop paying. If you are sending money to Adobe, Microsoft 365, QuickBooks, TurboTax, Norton, Grammarly, or Canva Pro, try the alternatives this weekend on one project. Most people who switch never go back. The reason is not ideology. It is that the subscription you are paying for stopped earning its price about 4 hikes ago, and the free alternative was always sitting one search away.